We are here to learn about how to be certain, certain times. And I believe that for all of us that are here, the questions in our hearts will be answered because I have questions in my heart too. The surprising thing about the topic is not about how to make the uncertain times certain, but how we will be certain in uncertain times. And when I was reading the broadcast, because there was a broadcast, the message, and then the flyer, and I was interested because it's talking about the mind and therapy, and it's talking about how I should be in control, not what somebody should do for me. So I'm here fully expectant. And so, to continue, we are going to have 2 speaking sessions. Our 2 speakers are here, and then each speaker is going to be addressing us for 30 minutes, and probably with a grace of 5 minutes, as the case may be. 30 minutes for each speaker, after which we will have a session of questions and answers. So I believe we're here with writing materials, but if not, we can take mental notes of the questions we're going to be asking after the 2 speakers have addressed us. So I'm bringing up the first speaker. He is Dr. Michaels, a medical doctor with interest in interventional talking therapy, to take the first presentation. Please, let's welcome Dr. Michaels.
Then there is the spirit. So human beings are made up of body, soul, and spirit. So a human being is a spirit living in a body. So it was a young guy that approached me in front of the level, actually my classmate. I didn't know that there's body, spirit, soul, and body. So I now explain to him. So a human being is a spirit, and even in WHO now that spiritual well-being.
Yes.
I was shocked. I said, I saw it in medical, so I said, no, it's not true. After medical, so I said, no, it's not true. It can't be true. How? When did you agree? How? When did you? So, the human being is a spirit.
Yes.
He lives in a body.
Yes.
And he has a soul. The soul has emotions. Sorry for my handwriting. And it has thoughts. The human being has both spiritual experience and physical experience at the same time. As we are here now, you are both having a physical experience and a spiritual experience. And how you are now able, and the control of those experiences and the creation of those experiences is by you. Now this you, I was in 200 level, I just changed from chemistry, 6 a.m. 2004 December. I was meditating, and then a thought crossed my mind. You are the architect of your destiny. What I'm saying is, you are not your body. And we spent 7x plus X years focusing more on medical training. We spent 4 months or 6 months in the whole of 7 years. So this guy here is just this guy. So when we say you are the architect of your destiny, we're talking about you, but technically, it is this guy, the mind. Because the control of the mind controls our life and it controls our body. The mind controls our life and it controls our body. The person that controls the mind is our spirit. So whatever happens in our life is caused by our mind. Whatever happens in our body is caused by our mind. So our God is not the one causing anything here. He's not the one causing anything here. So if this guy says no to God in terms of having a belief, if this guy says no, God cannot fail.
Absolutely.
Subconscious mind. So the brain. So this is the body. This is the mind, and this is you. The bridge between the body and the mind is the brain. The bridge between the mind and the spirit is the subconscious mind. I want to say that the subconscious mind, the doorway to the human spirit. What that means is that whatever happens to the subconscious mind automatically happens in our spirit. Or let me put it this way. This is the spirit. The world surrounding the human spirit is the mind.
Take advantage
Yes.
of the forces generated by the mind. So if I can control my mind, I can control what I see. I can control what I see. So like now, my mind is recording everything in this room. So it is going to my subconscious. If I was here yesterday, I'm here today. So it's repetition. Repetition brings programming. And then it programs my life. It programs my behavior. Because once the mind is now broken, what can you do? It's nothing. A broken mind leads to a broken life. So once the mind is broken, thankfully to God, through medicine, it has brought about therapy. So therapy is a repair. I don't know if you know radionic. Radionic are people that they repair radios.
Yeah.
So I used to think that why is that I was always looking for problems? Like I'm always, many years ago, I didn't know that I'll be going to therapy because therapy is about repairing problems, bad problems. So, as I round off, a broken mind, God cannot help. A broken mind, God cannot help. In fact, you'll be praying the wrong prayers. So, what should we do? So, even if you are putting scriptures in Quran or Bible, it has to first of all repair the mind. And what you are putting, you will need to understand it for you to get to the mind. So what you are putting, do you understand it? Let me round up by this TikTok video. God, just give me 2,000 naira out of the money I have in heaven. Just out. So if the mind is broken, it will stop. It will block money. It will block health. It will block marriage. It will block sex life. It will block relationship with people. It will block work performance and the rest like that. So I believe this will lead us to Madam talking about how therapy can bring about certainty in uncertain times. So in uncertain times, if we can master how the mind works, I can stabilize my inside. And the stabilization of my inside will bring about the stabilization of my field, of the area around me. And I will always do so. So the mind given to us by God, the mind is not competing with God because of no, who gave you the soul? Who gave you the everything? So if you are using, I give you this, you know, say using this is competing with me. Is it not my own pen? If you use it, who takes the glory?
God.
This beautiful woman I want to bring up stage. I'm sorry if I'm biased. She's the CEO of Therapy for All, and she's working in collaboration with Black Therapy all the way from Dublin, Ireland. Mrs. Omobola Johnson.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, so I don't want to talk about the mind because obviously Dr. Michaels already did. And like he said when he started, this conversation, we might have had it for 10 years, 8 years, 4 years, and 30 minutes might not do justice. But I think that whatever resonates with your mind today is what you have received to add to other information. I do know a lot of controversy regarding therapy. It is so controversial that I was telling Dr. Michaels, they are trying, that you can just be on social media and talking about these things. I can't. Because a lot of people just be coming from left, right, and center, and then that makes you feel like, am I doing the wrong thing here, or am I doing the right thing? But I still understand that the people who needs it, they will source for it, and they will make use of it. And what he was saying that where the country we are now is spiritual and everything like that. And controversy with therapy and God is the fact that people believe you want to exchange God for therapy because they believe that the moment you have that tool, you will not need God. But that's a lie. I think that when you have God and therapy, you have a double combo of what can make you be successful in life.
Yes.
The God that we serve said we should enjoy life to the
fullest.
So I don't want to sound like I'm preaching, but enjoy life to the fullest. So what are the tools that He has given us? He made the world for us to flourish and to live the life in fulfillment of everything that He has written for us. So I think that for people that are here today, on social media, and the people that are here today, I think if you put therapy with God, with everything that you have that, what's that, that skyrocket one that they will only fire once but can scatter everywhere. That's the power that I feel that we can have. And in these uncertain times, it's so uncertain. It's not only in Nigeria, it's all over the world. There's war everywhere, Ukrainians, everybody, people are losing loved ones. So let's talk about what it actually is. So therapy is a form of treatment that aims to help us resolve mental or emotional issues. Like what we said earlier, so our body, our mind, our spirit, these things connect with our emotions and our thoughts. But we have the ability to be able to decide in our mind, am I receiving this thought or am I getting rid of this thought? So am I allowing this thought to stay in me and begin to germinate and then grow and then lead me into, whatever. So the form of therapy is just having a conversation with somebody qualified to guide your emotion, your thoughts, and your feelings. Is a psychological thing. They are all together. The mind is the greatest, which I always say that even we as Christians, we contradict what we are saying. Because when you are saying faith, if your mind does not receive that faith, you cannot establish it.
Yes.
So our mind is the one that actually says, I am able to do exceedingly abundantly, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if your mind, you can be saying it, I'm able to. Because when you are saying faith, if your mind does not receive that faith, you cannot establish it.
Yes.
So our mind is the one that actually says, I am able to do exceedingly abundantly, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if your mind, you can be saying it, I'm able to do exceedingly abundantly. I'm saying it, but if your mind is not agreeing with what you are saying, it's just words.
Just wastage of time.
So this is where your mind is powerful. Because when you now speak that, I can do this and exceedingly, and then you grab it, your mind connects with it, and then it breaks the faith that will then make you say, yeah, actually I can. So I'm not afraid of that wood. Why? Your mind, that powerful force that God has given you, has bred the faith to carry out something that you want to do. So the form, it's an action. It improves, like I said, our social, well-being in every one of us. We cannot live without, having conversation. So therapy, in the form of therapy before, our friends used to be our therapists. Some of us still have besties that know everything. But one thing that I feel, you can gist with your friend. But remember that your friend will advise you. Therapy is not a form of advice.
Yes.
Therapy is a form of discovery.
Yes.
Who you are, the right path I'm going to follow. So if I'm going to advise, I'm going to advise you based on where I am at the moment, or the ideas that I have regarding the issue that you brought to me, or what I will do. But the both of us are not the same. We are not the same. So that is what we do in therapy. We let people discover who they are, discover their potential, and heal from every trauma. Because trauma is one of the things that holds us bound. A lot of people have not healed from childhood traumas. A lot of people have not healed from childhood trauma. And then when you discover, you feel you've healed. Why? Because you are patching through life. Some of us just surf. Surfing. You know the way people surf now if you're in the sea. It's just like on the tip of that water. So that's surfing. We're not meant to surf through life. We're meant to live life.
Yeah.
Like enjoy it, to the fullest. So when we're surfing, a lot of us surf.
Yeah.
What did our parents teach us? 3 basic needs of life.
Toiling.
Food, clothing, and shelter. Every other thing that you are adding is a necessity, it's not compulsory. So they want us to be contented with that place of the mindset that, okay, when I have food, I have clothing, and I have shelter, I don't need any other thing. But in our, question and answer time, my question will now, I'm giving us this question to think about. What is that one thing that you feel, one trauma? Think about it. You might not identify it now. Trauma affects our marriages.
Yes.
It affects our finances.
Yes.
It affects basically everything about us.
Mm.
So I remember, someone was telling me that she was sexually abused when she was 8 years old.
Yeah.
Became, born again, and she became born again and was enjoying life and just living life and everything like that. And then at a point, she started doing this job that we were doing, and we were just having conversation. And she said, "Do you know that after maybe 30 years, that trauma was discovered in our job?" She felt, because I don't think about it anymore, because I don't talk about it anymore, I've dealt with it. That is not how the mind works. The mind wants you to remove it
one by one,
and let the healing process take place. That is therapy. That is what therapists do. So when we are not biased, there's so many ways you can identify, a good one as well. But what I want to say, the most important, thing I want you to hold today, like I said, because we know that where we are living is a, faith-based, country. And the fear of exchanging, that's what I always say. People, as soon as God talk about that, they're like, no, God will do it. Nobody's taking away the place of God. It can never be replaced with anything. Nothing. We can't take him away. He has already made us. He created us. And he loved us, first. We can't take all those things away. But what are the tools that he has given us to live a substantial and sustainable life? Like he was saying earlier, I used to say something that I say to my clients, I'll be like, when you need me to carry you, I will carry you. When you need me to hold you, I will hold you. So it depends on what that person has brought into therapy. So one of the things, like I said earlier, that, we can, I've said it because I didn't kind of go into the PowerPoint, but let me just read this one. So therapy is a way to get help with mental health problems or get extra support if you are going through a tough time. If you go to therapy, you have a meeting with the therapist, which I've already explained, earlier. So I'm just going to move on and let's say what, we can do to help. So we counsel people with different kind of mental condition, such as depression. Who knows depression? Who knows? How can you say that I feel depressed? I asked that question. A lot of people don't know. And as soon as we say depression, we don't like big words as Nigerians. So depression, we're like, I reject it in Jesus' name. Depression, but we all do. We do. Because depression is only a moment of sadness. That moment that you stay in. Some people can stay in that sadness for a few minutes and they will find a way to come out of it. But some people can be in depression for months and for years that they need support. Because they need to find the root cause of the depression. What is making me sad? And we always say this thing. Nigeria, they're always playing and joking and terrible accident. Like in 2013, my husband was the one driving, our car somersaulted, I think 8 times, and all of my children were in the car.
Whoa.
And when we were at the hospital, I didn't know that I had anxiety. I was just like, I need to get better for my kids. I was trying to make sure that they were attending to the 3 of them and everything like that. So we were going for like a short weekend to a friend's place. So when we were all discharged and then we went to the friend's house, as I laid on the couch, I was reliving the accident. It was like coming every 1 minute. I was reliving it. And then I said to myself, oh, I was so fearful of leaving that couch. It was like, even if I take my feet away, that accident was going to occur again. I had to take charge of my mind.
In the mind.
Because now, my mind has received that information. What you were saying. So it kept coming. So I said, it's like, I'm not going to drive again. It's like, and then he said, no, don't let that. If you don't drive again, you've given to the mind, that's a crash for you.
Yes.
Because you will not be able to ever drive. I have a friend. She has not been able to ever drive after an accident. The mind played on her.
Yes, played.
There was no healing done. She accepted that fate. And she said, I don't want to die. Like tomorrow when she drives now, she will die. We live all those things daily. So let's not forget. Even fertility.
Yes.
For some women,
it's
a trauma. When a woman cannot, I was on a plane a couple of years with a woman and I did not know her from Adam, but I knew that she wanted to talk. Do we know that when you talk to somebody and you are not interrupted, there's that feeling of because there's a lot of distraction around us and even in our mind. So when we're in a safe place with somebody that we trust, this is not my brother or my sister or a friend. Oh, later tell another friend, they'll tell another friend that discussion that we had. So you are always, when you come to a therapist, you are always in a safe place. 3, like doctors always have a code of ethics, yeah? So we have our code of ethics. Number 1, you can't be biased. You know the way you're like, you know the way we work by this, you can't do all those with somebody who has come to confide in you. Number 2, you cannot compare. Number 3, confidentiality. Actually, if you even just talk about that person's name, your license is gone. Confidentiality is the number 1 on the list. And the most important one is empathy. And empathy is developed. We have pity, but we don't have empathy. Because empathy is non-judgmental. When you can say something to me, and I can just say, I understand. And I'm here. Do you need a hug? What do you need from me in the moment? I'm not like, sorry. Hello. There's a difference. But we do that. We always have that pity. With some people like it, they want that pity and all those things. So therapy is something that we're trying to let Africans, or let me say because I'm in Nigeria now, know that it is an addition. It is a great addition to a daily life. If we can include it, combine it, to the God that we serve, is a two combo, like I said.
Yes.
So you have two powerful things that are in your hands, and you can use either one when needed. So if I feel depressed, I can identify, this is depression today.
Yes.
I can go to God and say, Lord, can you show me?
At least you know what to tell him.
I know exactly. I'm not praying amiss.
Yes.
You know, I'm not saying, God, give me money. When He's actually
When I have
giving
money,
me,
the pressure will go.
yeah, He's actually giving me, you know, something that would give me money. But I'm physically looking for, you know, the money. So yeah, because we have 30 minutes, and like I said, my own is long. So why should we go to therapies? We can go to therapy because of good relationship to make it great. So our marriages, we can go to therapy to make our marriage a better place. The reason why I always encourage marriage therapy is because two individuals grew up in two different societies, two different homes, two different upbringings. It's hard to be with somebody who believes what you're doing is totally wrong and you want to live with that person for the rest of your life. But when we come to therapy, I can understand the reason why your perspective is different from mine, and we can both understand and respect each other, give ourselves the boundaries that we deserve in the moment. Because I always say that most of the time, we always say that boundary is cutting somebody off. Boundary establishes the fact of respect with the other person. So for me, I always say that it's good that, and marriage counseling should not be only when people want to get married. No,
Yes.
I object. Things happen in our marriages every day. Life happens. In some marriages, they have sick children. In some marriage, the husband will lose a job. In some marriage, things happen to us that we need to mend every time. The marriage counseling that we did before we got married cannot sustain the marriage that is moving 10 years, 15 years. And you know one thing that always shocks me as well? Do we all know that we don't know ourselves to the fullest? Because until something has happened to you, you don't know how you react.
Yes.
So if a woman has not slapped you before, Dr. Michael, I slap you.
That's
But before you experience it, if I slap you, you tell me based on what you feel that you can do.
Yes.
But if I do it, you might not do what you said you were going to do. Because it has happened.
It's true.
So your reaction to it happening, that one is what we then can identify that, Dr. Michael, this is the way you react when somebody does something. So because we discover ourselves every day, that is why I feel it is important that we constantly have therapy in our marriages. I want to talk about our cognitive, and then I will end there. So our cognitive is the way that we rewire our brain. So our cognitive is changing negative thoughts to positive. We would, like what you said, so I remember I wanted to buy a car last year. I have never seen this car ever before on the road. I've never, honestly. My husband just brought the picture and said, look at this car. Do you like it? I'm like, I like this car. So I showed my kids. I'm like, okay, let's buy the car. Since the day I saw that car, I was seeing it everywhere. So I asked my kids, I'm like, guys, how many of this car do you see every day now? It's like everybody has this car. That is your subconscious comes to consciousness.
Yes.
But now to end up, I was telling Dr. Michaels something. So myself and I know you all might have experiences about your mind, but to let us know it is a powerful one. God knows it's powerful. That was why He told us, that Bible verse.
Romans 12.
Thank you. So the ending of the place that I always hold on to is it said that the renewal of our minds. He said it. He said we should renew our mind. Why is He telling us that we should renew our mind? He knows that there can be a lot of connections, a lot of things in that mind that can lead us into different places that we're not even meant to go to. It receives a lot of information. Our mind is large. It can accommodate Anything that you put inside every day is going. But what can we do? Therapy helps to renew that mind. That place, that safe place you can go to and say, do. I've had clients that will talk 50 minutes therapy, they will talk for 47, and I'll be like, no, one day one woman said, BJ, how do you do it? How do you just, I feel good. Because this is the very first time I've spoken in a long time uninterrupted.
It does not really affect the entirety of that person, of the person of that child. It could affect different aspects of that child. And the part affected could be the part associated with money. There's something we call self-identity, and there's something we call personality. Personality is what we see. Self-identity is what we don't see. So we can say the self-identity has to do with our spirit, and personality has to do with a part of us that we can see, an expression of what we can see, which is a combination of what has happened to us while growing up. So if somebody, maybe probably a child experienced, an adult as a child experienced divorce parents, it did not affect some other aspect of the child's life, like the meeting people, working well with people relations, but it now affected a part of that child that has to do with wealth. Let me rewind back again. Money is not the paper. The paper is just an idea on the ink. True money cannot be seen. Whatever we are going to have, it must be that we have already become it. Let me rephrase it again. Everything that we are going to have physically, we have already become it in our spirits. It is now taking it from our spirits, from our self-identity, and transforming it into personality. That's when we have the money. So, if that part of that person's spirit has been affected via the mind, the person saw the parents fighting, or something as low as poor parental care. Poor parental care can cause trauma, but the parents will not know. So, that poor parental care that causes trauma, the part that causes trauma is the part of the wealth, because I am wealth. Are you getting me? I am wealth, you are wealth. You are love, I am love. I cannot love people if I am not love. I cannot have wealth if I am not wealth. So I have to be wealth to have wealth. So that part of me that is wealth, if it happens to be affected as a child, especially the first 2 years, 7 years of a child, that will bring about money trauma. And no matter the books that the child reads, no matter the business school, financial studies, I always see them, financial school, come on, there's a lot deal with trauma. So that's where.
Can I just have that? The mindset has to even change, regarding, money.
Yeah.
Because, I've had people who will tell me that I would rather see a large sum of money in my account than buy something for myself. And I would ask, why? They'll be like, we're really, really poor. I don't want to ever imagine that I don't have money. For me, I'm like, then your mindset is being putting yourself under that slavery of what has happened. That's why we're talking about the trauma. So we become an adult, but we carry the trauma of our childhood. It's in us. And healing has to take place for us. The mindset has to change. We have to flip it. It's like flipping a coin. So every time I need that mindset, I'm flipping it. Every time I need that new mindset, I'm flipping it constantly. Because if you don't, you are staying in that past of that trauma. And then it becomes the thing taking charge of your adulthood. So the way we react to money, to friends, to love, is all the things that's been, indebted in us as we grow. I had this this story of two brothers. So they grew up in a home that their father was an alcoholic. Two brothers, and when they grew up, one would never drink. Like he would not even touch alcohol. He can't sit down with anything. The other one is just like his father. So the presenter interviewed them and like, the both of you grew up in the same household. So what happened? Why did you decide? So the one who is not drinking said, when I became an adult, I had to change my mindset from all of the things I saw my father doing, knowing that they were wrong. So he made a choice. The one that is still drinking said, well, this is what I saw my father doing, and I just believe it's a normal. So even in flipping that thing, sir, choices come in. So we have to make, what choice am I making for myself right now? So I think that is what he was saying regarding, the trauma of money. So it's not only money that we have, trauma, regarding. How about even the environment that we grew up in?
Yes.
Some people will be like, the environment I grew up in did a lot of tapping to read it, and they will not want to be friends with somebody that live there. They don't want to do businesses like them because what the trauma is there. Trauma is like, how would I say, it's all.
Yes. Yes.
And that is why I've been using the word, because that's the word they use, healing. It has to take place. Because we are all trauma inclined. All of us. Every one of us has one trauma or the other. And when we look deep down, we will be able to identify in our lives where the trauma is speaking and where it is making decisions in our lives.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Next question. Anyone ask the last question? Yes, sir.
I had dreams about therapy. I thought the encounter with therapy was with Dr. Michaels, and I was with COVID time. Had my own personal experience in COVID, with locked in and all that, and my wife asked me to reach out, and I came out of the session with them. Depression, sorry about that. I'm researching depression. Talk is cheap, they say. And you are telling us that all we need is talk and all that. How do we get that out of our mind? Because I tried talking, I am falling off. Just before I went into depression again, I saw the book of drugs that I had with him, and I tried reading them again, but it didn't help. It didn't really help. Where do we get to that we know, okay, I've broken even? Because it takes me a long time to come in, maybe 6 months, 7 months, and somebody told me that there was a depression that left, that's got better. It's just walked away and so expected to come some other time. So what do I need to do so that next 3 years I don't suffer the same pain again, and everybody's worried about me and I'm worried about myself? And at what point do I really know? Is it that I must constantly engage a therapist every 3 months, every 2 months? Is there something that will just tilt? Because we keep on talking about the mind, and I expect him to talk about the mind. And I ask myself, somebody remind me, it's something we don't get to see, it's just about cognition. Yeah. How do we get to that point that in my mind I think I have something that I have? I listen to you, funny enough, it's nice meeting you, Stefano. I follow you on Facebook. And I'm like, how is this lady smiling and dancing and jumping? And I don't know what I did. Does not correlate. Going through a tough time and jumping and how do we get to that point? I hope I get there one day where indeed nothing really moves me. Indeed, I can say, even if it's been hell, sunshine, and it won't move me. Is there a mark? Is it that I need to constantly be exposed to therapy? I'm just trying to get that point.
Okay, sir. Thank you for that question. And I think that it's something that a lot of people, always bring to therapy. I think number one thing is that for me, I always ask my clients when they come, do you have expectation? So now, my question about expectation is that we set time to therapy. Before you discovered that you were falling into depression, something had happened for years. So number one, as soon as I meet someone and they're telling me, I want to be okay in the next 3 months, I'm like, before you got here, something took you years. I don't think 3 months is enough to walk that journey.
But the fee is not.
The fee is good. I think
it gives me discount for 2 months.
Yes, I understand what you're saying, but I want you to look at it this way. Remember that flip that I said earlier? Remember the way you were feeling when depression was not there. When depression was not there, how was I feeling? Now depression is there. How am I feeling? Which one do I choose? Thank you. So what price am I paying to be on the other side of that coin? Because I want to feel that time that there's no depression. It's the best time. I felt myself, I felt the energy, I felt my love, I laughed from within. I feel it's expensive, like you said, but I feel that I can pay any price to be on that other side of that coin. But now, let's remove, the money aspect and all that. There are other things that we can do to help us, away from depression. If the therapist identifies, for me, I feel you need psychodynamic. I feel, and it's a longer process. CBT is something that somebody will come and they're just changing their mindset and, changing their cognitives to function on a daily. So like Yoruba will say that, like that thing is not, but for some people, like I said, they've been carrying something of years. You can't put a limit to it. You can't say 6 months, I'll be okay. And I know, like I said, it's expensive, but I would pay. If somebody asked me, I would not mind paying anything that would take me to that side of that time that I felt me. That when somebody calls my name, yes, that's me. I'm not doubting who I am. I'm not falling in and out. And we need to identify, what are your thought patterns? What are those things that take you back to depression? What brings you out? Do you journal, sir? Journaling is good. It helps you keep track of your thoughts. It helps you. Because if you do journaling every day, and then next week you feel low, you can go back to all of the days that you've captured on your notes, and then you'll be able to identify. Then know, okay, what's going on right now? What am I worried about? So what is that thing that is making me feel depressed? Because it is just one thing. So that is what we need to discover. That one thing. As soon as we can identify that, then we can start working on it to take you out of it permanently. But I think as human beings, we all need therapy, even if it's twice in a year or 3 times in a year. Somebody who will just listen to you rant, just give out everything. So I hope I've answered that question, sir.
And in addition to Madam, very exact, precise discussion is after that session that we had, there was, like she said, a longer. The person has to now be well equipped to be able to handle the triggers that will be coming. So it's not just about me dealing with my present problem. I must be well equipped to deal with them, and that's the ultimate goal of therapy. The ultimate goal of therapy is not really for life as it were. Is to be able to get to a point where you are now interdependent, you are now well equipped to handle. Because challenges are inevitable, because ignorance is inevitable. So, and there are people who are doing those somebody has been doing it since 2020. It like Madam said, it depends on how long. So you are now removing all those.
It's like taking away skills.
Things that have been there for 40 years, 30 years, you have to now be removing them. So that's what the equipment has to do. So that when those triggers come, one can now say, hey,
I know you.
I know you. No more. Hey, I have been healed. So stay there. Thank you.
you.